Hi, Shrey.
Yeah. Hi, Neeta. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm awesome. As always, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we dive in, I wanted to quickly introduce you. So,
Yeah.
Shrey Shrivastava, Shrey, as he's fondly called, is a happy human. He's a BITS Pilani graduate in B Pharmacy, went on to do masters in pharmacology and a focus in toxicology. And the most important thing is he accomplished this while going through a rare diagnosis called FSHD, which is a genetic muscle disorder wherein the muscles of the face, shoulder blades, and upper arms are impacted. As I hear Shrey's story, there is a line that stuck with me from a book called Option B by Sheryl Sandberg and Adam Grant. And the line goes, when option A is not available, let's kick the shit out of option B. And Shrey's approach to life is true to that statement. And I would like for all of us to hear more from him and learn from him. So, Shrey, I'm so excited to be doing this. I have had some conversations through the last couple of weeks, and it's been great knowing you. And let me start off like you describe yourself as a happy human. Give us
Yeah.
insight into what makes you happy and how you anchor yourself to maintain that happy state every day.
Okay. So first things first, thank you for making me do this. Like, I'm really excited to talk because I talk a lot, and like BITS is a big family for me, apart from my own family. So yeah, and let's dive into the whole happy human thing. Okay, so it's always like, when I started in BITS, when I started studying, when I have had my symptoms and everything. So everything was like very, dual, like it's good or it's bad or something. Everything had a dual nature, like good, bad, positive, negative, blah, 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 blah. And everyone around me, everyone in my family, my friends, most of them like, okay, no, just be fine, think positive. Like, I don't want to think positive or negative. I just want to be happy. Like, I just want to be, having fun. I mean, so that's the thing, where the think of, being happy comes from. And why I like to call myself happy human, because it's really important to understand what makes us happy. I guess for me, from my experiences, I just came to understand that, a lot of friends, a lot of chit chat, a lot of talking, great music, sketching, writing poetry, blogging, talking to a lot of people, researching, reading books. So everything that I do basically makes me happy. And then the best part about my diagnosis is, first of all, it's only a diagnosis. It's not a disease, and I'm not suffering from it. So yeah, that's it about it. And the best part about my diagnosis is that it has taught me a lot about life, and I'm grateful that I have this diagnosis. Like, I would not have been me had it not been FSHD, right? So when I look back through the past, or I introspect a lot. So that is my favorite thing to do: put on music and then introspect. So that's when I realized, just the fact that I'm alive, right, makes me kind of, happy. I know it's like somewhat orthodox to think like that, but as long as I'm alive, I guess I'm happy. I mean, everything is a plus as long as I'm alive. So yeah, that's the basic thing. And then when I'm alive, then obviously I'll do things, I'll chit chat. So everything comes along with the living. So at the very basic, it's because I'm living, I'm breathing right now. And after that, I have a lot of things to do. So yeah, that's where the
So
happy things come from.
yeah, living and breathing is the core of being a human, right? Everything else are just
Yeah.
tasks that we have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shrey, you were diagnosed in your second year at BITS Pilani, right?
Yeah.
Can you give us a bit more about the diagnosis, and also just I'm a BITSian, so I know just being away from home, you're still getting used to that way of life, and you're just forming friendships and bonds in second year. So just being away from home and going through that diagnosis must have been extremely hard, right? So let's give us a little bit more about your diagnosis. And I also want to understand what kind of support systems did you have available to you in BITS?
Yeah. So funny thing, like, my symptoms started to manifest in 2012, but it took me a lot of time. Like the basic symptoms started way back when I was in class 4th, but the majority started in class like in 2012, and then in my second year it drastically happened, right? So I went on to a lot of I had gone to a lot of doctors. I went to my doctors in like BITSAA Sarvajanik also, and they told me to refer a neurologist. So we went to Apollo, and then we went to Lucknow. So finally, I got my diagnosis that it was FSHD and it is incurable. And at that point of time, the doctors were like, it cannot be cured. इसका कोई इलाज नहीं है, कोई दवाई नहीं है, आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते, आपको मतलब ऐसी जिंदगी रहेगी. And they were always like, they were like, so I told them like I am a BITSAA and I'm doing my studies, because at that point of time I thought of dropping out of college. Like, oh, what does it even make sense? Like I'm living with an incurable diagnosis, and why does study even make sense, right? So why will I study thermodynamics when I know my whole condition is not getting better anyway? So thermodynamics won't make a difference to me. And the doctors, to my surprise, so there was one doctor at Apollo. So he told me, I told him like, should I continue with my studies and everything? So he just told that you will not get a gold medal or something, even if you study, even if you don't study, even if you live at a hostel alone. So I told him, look, I manage my things alone. I live at hostel. I have my friends and everything. So he was like, okay, you're not getting a gold medal for that. So don't do that. I'm like, okay, that's weird. So that was a very, dark kind of time for the next 2 years to follow. When my diagnosis happened, my father, I'm grateful basically to the BITSAA and the whole warden and my friends and my teachers. My father was there in my room for, I guess, 30 days, 30 or so odd days. And, when everything settled down, when I, was calm, then my father had a chat with my professors and everything. Then, okay. Then it was fine. So much of it happened after my father, went from college, because in front of your parents, you have to be strong. Like there is no option, like you cannot break down. So I was like, nahi, मैं ठीक हूँ, nothing's wrong. But अंदर तो भाई साहब एकदम like I was shattered. Like I was shattered. But then like that's the best thing about life. As long as you're living, as long as you're breathing, like miracles happen and things happen. Like you just have to trust the process. That's what I learned, through my diagnosis. So that's why I'm grateful. And when I, got the diagnosis, so I have two friends. Like I would really like to, mention them in every point of my life. And they were Shubham and Vedant. Basically, they were my batchmates, and they helped me through everything. To going through classes, to arranging my bed, to help changing my bed sheets, to pick me up when I fall in the washroom. So I had a lot of falls and everything. And the whole thing, my whole BITSAA journey after my diagnosis is totally because of them. Like I literally owe everything to them, both of them. And they did not do it out of, helplessness or something. They were like, okay, your friend, like, theek hai yaar, ho gaya. You cannot do anything about it. Like, and then I had a talk with my professor at which Dr. Atish Tulsiram Paul. So he just told me, right? So when you were not aware of your diagnosis, when you didn't know what it was, you were handling it really well. You were fighting, you were chilling about it. So this is something really wrong with me. I don't really know, but I'm excited to, know more about it. So then he said, now that you know it, so it's a better thing, because now you can manage it well. Now you can understand it well. And, that was a shift of perspective that happened in the second year itself. It took me but it's like it was a gradual process. It eventually, ended up happening in third year. And then, things started to make sense. Okay, like this is not a problem. This is a big solution to your life. Like you don't have to focus on consumerism. You don't have to impress anyone. You don't have to compete with anyone. So a whole lot of things and the whole lot of philosophies that people have about life came because of this. And I think that's how I navigated through it. So the major support system was my parents. Like they were like they're everything. Like, and they're really stubborn. Like you have to do it, so you have to do it, and that's a best thing. Like there are times like I'm like nahi hoga. I cannot do it. I'll not be able to do this. I'll not be able to do that. You just try. Like how can you say that you cannot do it? You have to try.
Yeah.
And then you have to don't not think about that. So my parents are really stubborn in that way. And they used to call, they used to talk. My father used to come like every month, one day itself, like from Lucknow to Pilani. My mother used to call and ask my friends and call them and take my address and everything. So yeah, I mean the whole basic support system of my parents, were like no. They were always pushing me. They were constant push. And then my friends Shubham and Vedant, like they're family, they're not friends. And then my professors in Department of Pharmacy, like they never, kind of never said anything that put me into that mindset that okay, I cannot do things. So they're like, okay, you cannot do it this way, do it the other way. Like the thing you said, you always have a choice. So it's the basic thing. Like वहां से वो चीज आई कि okay, I mean I cannot do it this way. Hey, let's do it that way. So
Find another way. Yeah.
and like that has been the way of my life, I guess. So and again, and it helps a lot when you understand that okay, you are breathing and you have a choice. So it's a really calming thing to go through. So that helped me a lot.
Yeah. And this diagnosis at some point required you to be in a wheelchair, right? As you started to become weak. Just looking at it from a facility standpoint, right? Do you think the campus at that point in time had the facilities to be inclusive for wheelchairs and just for the convenience that you needed, right? To be closer to the bathroom and things like that. Like, what can be done better? Because I think this is also valid for us to give inputs to the campus management on what they can do to make everybody inclusive.
Yeah, so that's something, initially, because I didn't talk about my problems and everything. So I was like always writing, okay, if the room is on the first floor, I'll just climb on the stairs but it was very difficult for me. Like even if I have to climb stairs, like if I have a class at 9, so I have to leave my room at 8. And then I took 30 minutes to just climb a set of stairs, right? So in the first year I could do it, and then my friends would help me do it. And then, eventually it's like, okay, I cannot do it anymore. I cannot do it anymore. So let's go. Like, and then I talked to the instruction division and they just, helped everything and they just shifted the room downstairs. So talking about inclusivity, the whole Pilani campus is not that accessible. Because like initially I had a lot of problems because these stairs in the lab they did not have that support, like they did not have that railings and bars everywhere.
Yeah.
So but after that, like gradually they are making things inclusive. And the whole problem basically initially was that there were a lot of stairs and there were no elevators or something like that. So I did face a few difficulties initially. Then when I sat on a wheelchair and it was around February 2019, things changed. Things became very easy for me, to be really honest. Like the only problem that I had was when I had to go to the loo and everything, because my parents are not there and everything was somewhat problematic. So that was something I had problems with. The bathrooms were not that accessible initially, but then, it's a gradual process and they just made a single washroom in that, in every hospital that is renovated. There is a washroom that is where wheelchair users can go or where people with disability can go. Okay. So I guess initially it was quite difficult, but now I guess it's a thing that is, picking up. Yeah, and it is changing. And I guess FD1 got renovated and it had an elevator.
Nice.
Then FD2, I'm not sure. FD3 was getting renovated and there was a provision for elevator there as well. So yeah, I mean, things are slow, but yeah, they're happening.
That's good to hear. Yeah. I go back 2003. So I'm a very disconnected to the latest developments in the campus. So I'm glad to hear that things are changing and becoming more inclusive.
Yeah.
That's great.
And the best part, the best part about BITS was when I sat on a wheelchair, the whole mindset about the society, the whole society tells you, when you sit on a wheelchair, your life is helpless.
Yeah.
And you're down. You cannot do anything. Like you are just a piece of useless thing that cannot do anything. You're good for nothing. But in BITS, the biggest advantage, the biggest gratitude that I have for BITS is because in BITS there was not a single person who gave me sympathy. And I did not need sympathy. I just needed to, go through the work and everything. So I remember, like, I went to the lab. So Dr. Atish came. So he was my thesis supervisor also. So I still remember he came in with Dr. Deepak Chitkara. He's another professor at Department of Pharmacy. They both came to the lab. I was sitting in a wheelchair. He came and like, how are you? How is health? Sir, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. The only thing that he asked, you can do the work, right? काम कर लोगे ना? मैंने हाँ sir कर लूँगा. But that was the only conversation that I had, and then I got into work. So in that sense, that is really essential to understand. Not okay. What happened? Are you feeling low? This and that. It is so sad that if this happened to you, like everything comes around in India, I guess कि पुराने पिछले जन्मों में कुछ किया होगा तो ऐसा होगा वैसा होगा. So a lot of things come, but in BITS there was not a single person who had the thought in their mind, or I guess they might have had that thought, but they didn't speak out to me, which is very great for me.
That's nice.
So the best thing that when you talk about inclusivity, like I'll just mention this, like I know I talk a lot, so apologies. When I talk about inclusivity, it's not about a building. It's not about a ramp. It's not about an elevator. It's just about the mindset. That's really important to understand, because you cannot build a ramp everywhere. You might not have an elevator everywhere, but if you have a mindset, if you are willing to accept things, that is the biggest thing about inclusivity, and BITS provided me that. I still remember, when I used to go here and there, so teachers come to me and they used to ask me like, okay, how is your condition now? How are you doing? Like, do you need any help? In the first year, I had a room on the first floor. Dr. Sandhya Marathe from Biological Sciences, she took my number from somewhere and she called me and told me, if you want a room in ESA that is on ground floor, you can have it. But then I was reluctant. Okay, no, I got this. I'm okay. I can do it. I can do that. So in that sense, they're like, okay, you are with us and you belong here, and no matter what happens to you, we are there for you. And that's the biggest thing about, when I call BITS a family, the mindset, nothing else. Like it's not problematic for me that they don't have a lot of ramps and everything initially. But I guess that's okay, because they are very accommodating and they're very, like, people have really great hearts in BITS. So yeah, full marks to that.
Yeah, and that's actually very powerful, right? To prioritize acceptance over sympathy, and lend a helping hand through acceptance. Don't show pity or sympathy is a great point for everybody. Yeah. And I looks like the administration gave you a choice every time, right? They didn't really force you to take a specific room. They said, do you want to do this? So that's amazing.
So that was really helpful. I mean, in everywhere, I guess. And the teachers also, the students, the people at Ready, they were always very, very chill with everything. Like, I mean, I don't know, like, which has this, chill vibe everywhere.
Yeah, I miss that so much.
Except for midsem and compre times.
Yeah.
Everyone has that vibe. So
yeah. And there's also a problem with us BITSians, right? We are very, very competitive, and we take a lot of stress when it comes to competing or even excelling in what we want to do. What anchored you in this journey? I'm sure you would have gone through a lot of like mental stress in terms of like thinking about ambition, thinking about your goals. To your point about it's a changing perspectives is a process, right? What anchored you? How did you navigate that journey?
Yeah. So being really honest, my second year and third year, most of it is blacked out of my memory. Like, I don't remember what I did. I don't remember a lot of things
Yeah.
from like the last 2 years, because I got into a lot of things, alcoholism and cigarettes and everything, because and it's like it was an escape route to just pass on the time. Like, you're not getting well, your disease, your condition, sorry, your diagnosis, not your disease. Your diagnosis is not getting better. You're not getting better. You're just losing muscles. What use is this body? And then, just let it be. Just pass on the time and everything. So that was something that initially happened to me, and that was really you know downsizing. But I guess everything happens for a reason, and when we say everything, I cannot pick and choose. Like, that's not my right, or I don't have the audacity to pick and choose, right? So it just happened, and then I guess gradually it vanished, because the whole perspective thing, I introspected a lot. Initially, I introspected what a waste of life I am. I cannot do anything. I'm good for nothing. I cannot even go to the mess to eat food. Like, Shubham and Vedant used to bring tiffin for me. Not only Shubham and Vedant, every person who was there, like someone or the other, brought some food for me from the mess. So it was kind of a lonely. People used to go out, have fun. I did not visit Sunshine even once. I did not even go to a lot of places. I did not have the Pilani trips. I did not even go to Pahadi. So that was a really, thing that I was always looking on. Okay, I could not do this. I cannot do this. What a waste of life. What a waste of life. Then I realized, talking to my parents, talking to my teachers, talking to Vedant and Shuma specifically. See, when we talk about education, when we talk about research, when we talk about studies, the first thing that I guess we need to understand, and this is my experience, is that you're not competing, you're just collaborating.
Yeah. Perfect.
You're studying so that the human race, the earth, the whole ecosystem can thrive better. So when you're aiming for something that is really, a union, like you're not doing anything else, you're just making world a better place. So you don't have to compete there. You don't have to compete, you have to collaborate. And it's sad that people, say that, okay, competitive exams, grades, X, Y, Z. I know a lot of people would think like, yeah, he's just saying like this because, it does not bother him that much, but I really want to be ambitious, and I want to have great things. But here's the thing. There was a study at Harvard, an 80-year-old long study, where they just talk about the quality of life. And I guess what they said was the type of life, the whole happy human thing is dependent upon the type of relationships you have.
Yeah.
So either if and when you're competing in BITS, I personally at times felt that people tend to, hate each other. Like there comes, okay, he's doing so much, I cannot do so. If competition is healthy, then it's fine. Else it's like, it's not that great. And I personally feel that people are not, like, okay, I want to do better. Like, okay, he has done so much. She has done so much. She is going to places. She got at 40 lakhs per annum back. So what will you do with that money? Like, personally, I lose muscles. I don't know which muscle I lose. So money does not drive me. So that is one, I guess, problem with me. And it's a solution as well, that money does not drive me. And I just know, like, as long as I'm breathing, so I can survive in the bare minimum. So that is the thing. Like, people compete for money and everything. They don't understand the essence of education and research and studying. It's always about, making the human ecosystem and making Earth a better place. And then when you're talking about making a place better, you cannot be competitive. You have to be collaborative.
Right.
So that is something, I guess, that builds up a lot of tension in BITS. And then the whole scholarship, X, Y, Z, and whatnot, a lot of things happen around it. So I guess every BITSAM goes through that. But like, it's a request to people who are listening to this, I hope, like, to understand that you're getting educated, you're getting to study. Don't do it for the money. Just think that you're trying to make Earth a better place. And when people will understand that, they will collaborate and they'll not compete, right? So it's a thing that I understood gradually about time in like third or fourth year when I sat on a wheelchair. So all this wisdom happened because of this wheelchair thing. And I totally love that. And that's why I guess I'm happy that with my diagnosis. And I'm glad it happened.
Yeah, that's deep. Driven by purpose, not by money, right? Yeah. And I know you mentioned you really like your wheelchair, and you found humor as a coping mechanism, right, through this process. Um, and you think wheelchairs are cool. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so first things, like, I did not cope with it. Like people think, like I did not cope with the whole wheelchair thing. I cope up with, the whole mindset thing. I just fell in love with wheelchairs. It was, and it's a true love thing. And the best thing about wheelchairs, I can give you 20 different points that why wheelchairs are better than normal chairs. So we can just start off with, okay, whenever you sit on a chair, like you might be sitting on a chair, right? So if you have to go somewhere, you have to take the chair with you. But if you're on a wheelchair, the chair takes you to places. Okay. So when you're on a wheelchair and there is a big line, in the mess, basically, you don't have to, stand in a line. You don't even have a line. You just can go, okay, I'm in a wheelchair, please help me out. So it gets things done super easy, I guess. The third thing, it's not a chair, it's a throne. I mean, it's just limited to you. So right now you're sitting on a chair, right? 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours later, someone else will be sitting on that, on that chair. But it's not same with the wheelchair. Like if it's yours, then it's yours. You can name it, you can write poems on it, you can fall in love with it, you can, celebrate birthdays, because it's a proper noun, it's not a common noun. And then the best thing about wheelchairs is it gives a lot of purpose to life. It teaches a lot about life. It taught me a lot, and I guess that's what helped me a lot, and it helps to people become more focused. Like you don't have to go on a tea break every time you get stressed or something like that. You don't have a lot of places to travel. You don't have to go to places, and I guess that's why wheelchairs are better. And then again, I don't like the whole concept of consumerism, to be honest, because it's not that healthy to earth. I'm keeping aside the economic perspective. But being on a wheelchair, I just understood that I'm not a big fan of consumerism. Because like I don't fancy a lot of shoes. Like I would not want to buy a 30,000 Nike, or Reebok shoe because it looks cool. I'm sitting in a wheelchair. Why will I need shoe? Like it's like I can go anywhere. I can go barefooted. So that's a big thing about wheelchairs. And then wherever you go, even if you have to greet someone, you don't have to stand. You can just sit and relax. And then in the wheelchairs, you can keep a lot of stuff. We have a lot of headrests, footrests, and then we have brakes. We can do a lot of stunts on that wheelchair. I do a lot of stunts. I broke my front two teeth because of the stunt that I tried to fail. But I, keep doing it. Yeah, so I do a lot of stunt on wheelchair, and then I guess wheelchair helps you clear exams as well. because you don't have to go or study or get stressed out and I cannot do so. Like you don't have anything else to do. All that you can do is study and just understand, and then it makes you understand the essence of your breath, the essence of living. So it makes you very stable, I guess. Like people have to meditate, people have to sit and meditate. While when you're on a wheelchair, you don't have to sit, you don't have to make a posture, you can just sit, you're anyway sitting. So you're always meditating in a wheelchair. So yeah, again, that's about it. Wheelchairs are really cool. And people, the best thing, people get a lot of inspiration from wheelchair. I don't know for what. they see person in a wheelchair, living a life, they're smiling, and they're like, okay, this is so inspiring. So I don't really understand that, but it works out for the people. So I'm okay with it. So these are some of the points. And I'm always working on, why wheelchairs are better than normal chairs. So it's a work in progress.
Yeah. And you find new things every day, right?
Yeah, I find everything.
Yeah. And your story is very inspiring. Going through finishing 2 degrees, having to accept your diagnosis. It's a lot to deal with, right? It causes a lot of mental stress, physical stress you're already going through. And I'm guessing a lot of people have told you that you are very inspiring. How do you feel about that?
I get really bored and I don't really like it, to be really honest.
You don't like it?
No. So the basic thing about, like, as I told you, I introspect a lot, and it happened because of the wheelchair thing. So just think about this thing. You, like, if there is a person, and then his eyes are becoming weak, his or her eyes are becoming weak, right? And then he goes to an eye doctor and he recommends, okay, just wear contact lenses or wear some, powered lens, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if that person is wearing that, spectacles, so is it inspiring? Just tell me, yes or no. Like, his eyes are becoming weak and he's wearing contact lenses, is it inspiring?
To a lesser extent, I guess.
So yeah, I mean, my legs are weak, so I just use a wheelchair. So it's just a basic thing about getting inspired is people need to understand the whole inspiration. The only inspiration they need to draw is to look in a mirror. There is nothing more stronger than looking in a mirror. Like, I'm talking to you, and the things that you mentioned right before this, like, I mean, that is a big enough reason to get inspired. I mean, you can just go and have a look in your mirror. Okay. I mean, this is Neeta. I mean, she has done a lot of things. So, I mean, this is cool. Yeah. I mean, this is great. So you don't have to look up to any other person to get inspired. And that's why I find it boring. Because personally, when I talk about the human behavior and the whole mind thing, because I read a lot, everything comes down to necessity, right? I felt that it was a necessity for me to, have a choice. It was a necessity to me for doing these things. So it's not very inspiring when it's just that my necessities are different. People have their own set of necessities. And then whenever people, see people on a wheelchair or, climbing stairs using crutches. So it is not inspiring. It's just that there are no places that are accessible. So that is not something to be inspired about, I guess. Like, there are 20 fleets of stairs and then I'm sitting in a wheelchair to go to that place. It is not inspiring. It's just that we are failing as a community to just accept things and, make shift and make the arrangements as required. So, and I guess to my speakers, whenever, I mean, a lot of people basically in wheelchair. So, and people with disability, not only people in the wheelchair. I think 1.1 billion people suffer from some kind of disability, either visible or invisible, and that makes 15% of the global population. So whenever you see them, 1 billion is not a small number, right? So it's not about getting inspired. It's just about understanding wheelchairs, crutches, neck bands, XYZ, whatever medical device they use is just a thing that that suffices their necessity, right? So whenever people, like, that's what I want to request people to do. Like, I don't have a problem from people that they get inspired from this and that, but what I really want them to understand that it's okay, that I'm using a wheelchair and it's fine. Like, it's almost as equal to wearing contact lenses when you have weak eyes, nothing more. So if you find something inspiring in that people wearing, lenses, then you are happy to get inspired every time. So I mean, that's where, I find it really boring. So just, I'm living a life, I'm having fun, I'm just playing with my necessities. That's it. So my necessities are different and there is nothing to be inspired about, necessities. So, I mean,
So your philosophy is to find inspiration within your own life, right? Like from your
Yeah,
own
I mean,
life. Got it. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing about, my story is different, your story is different, and both are great. There is no less or, that's where collaboration comes. When you are comparing like he's an inspiration, then subconsciously what might happen is, you might think that I'm not doing a lot of things. That happens like subconsciously, the whole brain, because it's so complex. When you say that, okay, he's doing so great,
Mm.
subconsciously you are downgrading yourself. People don't understand that.
Mm.
So it's always better to look in a mirror. Even if you're having a bad day, if you're having a good day, just look in the mirror. Okay, yeah. I mean, this is 24 years of life. Like I've gone through a lot. I've gone through thick and thin. I've done great. I'm still breathing. I'm still living. So yeah, I mean, I can get through whatever it is. So I guess if people practice this, like they would need a lot less of psychologists and everything.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, it helps a lot. It helps a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a very
Always have that's my request to everyone. Always have a mirror with them whenever they want to find inspiration.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a very deep perspective, right? And I think um, the more awareness that we can spread around that, the philosophy of seek your own individuality or find inspiration from your
Yeah.
own life versus comparison, I think
Yeah.
it's very powerful. A lot of today's either teenagers at every stage in life, people are going through a lot of mental stress because of comparisons,
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
somebody else is doing well, I'm not doing as well. But to your point,
Yeah.
everybody's story is different, right? Everybody has a
Yeah.
journey. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a very deep perspective.
So people. I think people tend to forget that they're still breathing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So if they remember that, I mean, a lot of things calm down. Like I'm not saying that hard situations will not come. You'll not go through a lot of mental disturbances. I went through a lot after this COVID second wave happened.
mm,
We volunteered for BITSAA a lot,
mm,
but this after the second wave, I actually was working for Anupendra
mm-hmm.
uh, from BITS only. Like he's a BITSAA founder, I guess.
Yes.
So I was working for him, and then I told him like I'm not able to function. Like my brain is getting fogged. I cannot work. So
Mm,
and he just told me, okay, work on your strengths, don't push it. And I guess that's where the whole essence came to me. Like everything that happens in my life, I take understanding from that.
mm,
And then when he said no, work on your strengths and not on your weaknesses, so then it clicked me. I mean, he's saying what it is happening, and I'm grateful that I got to work under him and
yeah,
with him,
yeah.
because he's a really, 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 really cool and a nice guy to work for.
Mm,
And I told him like I cannot work. Like I did not work a lot,
mm,
but then he was like, "Okay, it's fine. I understand." Like I even reached out to BITSAA, for psychologists and everything. But
mm,
then I was like, I looked in the mirror and I thought, okay, I can do this. I might do this. I might do this. I might do this. So through 4 months or 5 months of this, I just came down to this understanding to seek your own individuality. And
yeah.
the whole problem happened because my friends are earning, my friends are getting jobs, friends are getting placed.
Mm,
So when 100 people do a single thing, you think that it's correct.
right.
So that got onto me after COVID second wave, because I was mentally exhausted, to be honest.
Mm,
But then a lot of, because that's the perk of a wheelchair. You don't have to go anywhere.
mm,
Like had I been walking, I would have gone to some bar, have a drink, light
right.
a cigarette, go out with friends, party.
Right.
Instead of that, I chose to sit in a wheelchair, think, and that it clicked. Okay, this is cool, man. I mean, my life is different. His life is different. So why do I have to compare? So I mean,
Right.
go look in the mirror. So yeah, that happened.
Mm. Just being peace with yourself, being at peace with yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that came because of this whole individuality thing. Because people forget the whole point that their life cannot be same as anyone.
Yeah.
Like even if people say like, you are okay, you are becoming like him, you are becoming like them, you cannot be them. You cannot, it's impossible, right?
Yeah.
Every single individual has a different fingerprint, right? So I think finding a normalcy, finding a midpoint, a median, a normal thing to do in life is only relevant to scientific articles to create data and, and have scientific advancements and everything. But, when you talk about people, right, to be with you, to be at peace with yourself,
Yeah.
it's important to understand that you are you and that's it. And you have to live with them. You have to live with whoever you are and you have to embrace it, accept it, get inspired by it. And if you do that, then you'll not need anyone else, right?
Right.
And you can do a lot of, and then you can do a lot of cool things like making fun about, why wheelchairs are cool. So yeah, kudos to that.
Yeah, that is, as you spoke about that, to your point, right? I think the most common thing or the midpoint or the median across all people is to your point, to live and to breathe, right? That's essentially what
Yeah.
everybody does in common. And everybody has their own, every individual has a different fingerprint. That
Yeah.
statement was very, very insightful. Yeah. True.
This line is really cool. I think I'm gonna write it in my journal.
You should, yeah. It really struck me. I was like, yeah, that is right. Every individual has a different fingerprint. So why should everybody compare to one another, right? It's your own story. Everybody has a journey.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's the thing.
That's amazing. Yeah. So Shrey, where do you want to focus your energies on for looking ahead?
Okay, so I'm always very high on energy, to be really honest. Like I'm always super pumped. Like as long as I'm not sleeping, which I do a lot, I'm always trying to do a lot of things. Like I want to do every single thing. So like you can name, I want to try stand up. I just made a rap around, this whole disability thing. I sketch, I write blogs, I write poetry. I might start a podcast very soon. And I think I'm looking forward, if someone from this podcast is someone who's listening, the name for my podcast is Discussability, and it's just in the planning phase. So if someone wants to come and help me out with this, I'll be grateful. So, and then in the long run, because I like to talk a lot, as you can see, I might end up becoming a radio jockey because I really like to talk a lot. And I don't let people talk. I think that's what I realized. But then, so this is what I want to do as a happy human. But then academically, I'm someone, who's always interested in biology. So I'm looking forward to pursuing a PhD in, different sectors in mainly life sciences. So I'm working on that as well. I'm learning new skills and I'm trying to develop something. So yeah, I'm trying to do a lot of stuff. And I don't think, I just do. So I introspect about life and I do things. I don't think about things. So that's thing that has happened to me. And when we talk about focusing on energy, so I did not get diagnosed, but yeah, I mean, going through the test and consulting some psychologists and psychiatrist friends, I might have ADHD. So I'm really poor at focus. But that's the thing about focus. When you always have a choice, when you have zero focus, then you are 100% observant, right? That's the thing. If you are focusing, then you cannot observe. If you are observing, then you cannot focus. So it's like I don't focus. I observe, and I think whatever I find cool, I try, and then I get bored and like, okay, let's do something else. So that's about me.
I really like that interpretation.
Yeah, I mean, that's what has happened because of this diagnosis.
Yeah.
Like everyone told me, you should be focused, hard work, hard work. I'm like, I'm observant, so why should I be focused? Like my fingerprint is observation. So I cannot focus. So I don't have to focus, right? And that's not a problem. People think that, not having a focus is not a problem. Like, it's like really great. So the thing, like if you are in a very, dirty place, like it's a thing that I read on LinkedIn, a post, there was someone who was living with OCD, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he came to a shopping complex, I think, and everything was, distorted and, out of place, right? And because of the OCD, and he cleaned everything up, and I guess he had Asperger's syndrome as well. So in that post, that hit me, that hey, if someone has OCD, they can be really good at organizing stuff. They can be really great organizers, right? It's not about thinking it as a problem,
Right.
right? So it's just that's what I say. Problems are just solutions in disguise, and most of the people don't understand that. Think that it's just a solution in disguise. So when people used to, say to me that you cannot focus, you are poor at focus, when you are so bad at learning, so I cannot learn a lot of stuff. I write a lot of things. So they're like, okay, how will you manage? Then I, started looking for sessions, how to increase memory power, brain power, how to learn things, exercise. But then I realized, okay, this is age of digital things. So I can write it on my phone, I can set a reminder, I can tell Siri, I can tell Google Assistant. So why will I invest my brain into, memorizing things when I can think of cool stuff and I can introspect, right?
Right.
So that's really one thing that people need to understand. That when people say to you that okay, you're not good at something, you're not good at something because you are good at something else, and
right,
you need to think that okay, why I'm not good at this, because I'm good at something else. So uh, that's what I guess this thing. Like I know this is a very vague answer to focusing on energies. Like I don't want to focus my energy on anything. I want to have a fun life, not a hardworking one. I want to have a fun, chill life. And I don't believe in like, see, I have a lot of different ideologies with everything, to be really honest. So I don't have this thing called work-life balance. I don't have a lot of adjectives. I don't have, I don't attach good or bad to things. I don't believe there is something called talent. So what I believe in is basically there is no talent. There is just intent and interest, right? When we talk about things, yeah, and when we talk about things being good or bad, it's just that if things happen our way, we think them as good. If they do not, then we think that okay, that's really bad for us, but that's not the truth. Then the last thing, adjectives mess up a lot of things. Trust me on this. When people say I'm a positive person, I'm highly energetic, I'm this, that, so they'll give me 100 adjectives before everything. But what happens is when I'm alone, when I'm going down, it creates a subconscious burden because like 100 people have said that this is me,
Right.
I am positive, I am strong. So why cannot I be strong? Like I'm useless, I'm a waste, I'm a waste, I'm a waste. So that happens because of these adjectives. And this is all subconscious, like you don't have it in the conscious memory. So this is not something, I'm making up. It's there in the research articles. So people need to understand that thing. So I think I focus my energies, to be honest. I focus my energies on understanding life, to be honest. I'm still doing that. And then I do a lot of things that, make me happy. And that's why I come down to becoming a happy human being.
Yeah.
And when I say happy, it does not mean that I don't cry. I don't get sad. When I say happy, it means that I know that life has better plans for me than I planned it the way it had to be.
Right.
I initially planned that I'll be a researcher. I'll go to NUS and then I would do some research, cool research in robotics. I'll make a cool exoskeleton for people living with muscular dystrophy so that they can be super cool Iron Man thing, right? But then life happened, and then I read some books, and then I understood like, okay, that's not what life is. Like you don't have to fight it; you have to love it the way it is. And I guess it brings down everything. The whole being ambitious, competitive, greedy. I guess then whatever, like every single thing, that I feel personally becomes that hampers your so-called growth
Mm.
is because people invest too much time, in the work they do, and they think that okay, they have to balance their work and life. And whereas I am someone like, okay, just do the work that you want to do when you're living, right?
Right.
Do that thing that you will do on a Sunday,
Mm.
right? Do that thing that you'll do without pressure, without anyone saying anything to you. So that's what I do, I guess. So I focus my energies on life, and then everything comes into place, I guess. And I'm blessed, I'm blessed because I have FSHD. Had I not have FSHD, I might, be the proper Bitsian who's looking for money and, getting plays, going out and study and XYZ, a lot of things.
Mm.
So that's why I think I'm grateful that I have this diagnosis. And one thing that I realized, even if a, cure or something like that comes, right? I might not be willing to get into a cure thing because it makes me understand subconsciously that there is something wrong with me, which is not.
Mm.
Right. I have problems. I'm not denying that, but I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of people in my, I guess, area, and India is a big populous state. So people are really helping, to be
Mm.
honest. And then people are advancing. There is the world is becoming inclusive day by day, day by day, day by day. So yeah, I'm in a good place, and I could invest my energies into super fun things and being things that make me happy. So yeah, you might expect me to have a stand-up comedy in coming years. I don't know what I'll do, but the thing is that as long as I'm breathing, everything is fine.
Yeah.
Once I stop, it does not even matter. So
Right. Yeah.
I'm chill about everything.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. And I am looking forward for your podcast. I love the name Discussability, right? That's
Yeah,
that's a great name. Yeah. Um,
yeah,
Great. Thank you so much, Shrey. Thank you for sharing your story with us, your valuable insights on to live and to breathe, right? That's the essence of
yeah,
life.
yeah,
And your overall philosophy of just keep everything simple. Don't complicate
yeah,
it. Seek inspiration from your own life. These are amazing insights. I'm so glad
yeah.
that you were able to chat with us. And good luck with everything.
Thanks a lot, Eva. Thanks a lot, and good luck to you too, and
Thank you.
to everyone who's listening to this. And can I say one last thing?
Sure, sure. Go ahead.
Thanks a lot. So I would recommend everyone to watch Kung Fu Panda and read Tuesdays with Maury. It's a really great book, and Kung Fu Panda, the movie Kung Fu Panda is the whole, the grassroots from where my thoughts
In
are coming.
inner
Yeah,
peace. Inner peace,
yeah, in a
right?
piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a request that people should watch Kung Fu Panda and people should read Tuesdays with Maury.
Can you tell us
Like,
what about Tuesdays with Maury that really struck with you?
mm, I think, um, like I would not, want to spoil the fun,
Okay. Yeah.
but I can say like the way life has to happen
Right.
and the way you have to live life, right? And it's very important to for us, people in our 20s and 30s, who are ambitious, who are
Mm.
learning about trade, startups, multimillionaire startups working
Mhm.
there, here, money, 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 money. Next big thing that I'm gonna buy: MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, iPhone 13, iPhone 26,
Right.
BMW. So more is different. Like Mori tells you about living and breathing. So
Right.
that's the thing.
Yeah. To ground us,
So
right? To stabilize us.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. To
Incredible.
to to tell us who we are.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you, Shri. Have a good day.
Thank you,
Bye.
thank you, Neeta. It was great chatting to you. Bye bye.
Bye.